Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson, and I'm very excited to bring you our current guest here. She's coming to us all the way from Czechoslovakia, our first Czech on the podcast, so it's a big delight. Yeah, we have Gabriela. I fudged up on her last name mentally when I was getting ready to introduce her, so she's just Gabriela. I'm not even going to try. I don't want to insult her, but she's on here to share her health and fitness journey, and just discuss all things health and fitness. She just recently won her pro card, which congratulations on that. And I've been following her for a while back now, and it's been fascinating just to see her grow throughout the years. But most importantly, she's our current guest. Gabriela, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I normally ask what the weather's like, but it's nighttime there in Czechoslovakia. We're just going to skip right past that, everyone. But as someone who has been following you for years upon years, and for the people that haven't, I should say, why don't you just first off give us your backstory on what inspired and motivated you to start working out and how that led to where you're at right now?
Well, I started working out about 10 years ago. I don't know why, but I don't know. I was like in shape since I was kid. And I have a cousin who is 1 year older than me. And he just starts lifting, working out. So I were with him in gym, and I just laugh. I like the progress you made. Just you are better, you look better. Everyone see you are making something. Yeah, it's just love for my life.
First of all, can I just say I love that answer that you have no idea why you started working out? Because everyone always has this like elaborate story where they're like, "Oh, I did it because of this and that," and you're just like, "I honestly don't know why I started working out."
I must say, I just watched some girl. It was a bikini competitor or something like that, and I like the muscles, just skinny muscles, yeah. So I started lifting, and I was just looking at her, and I say, "Well, I want to look like this." But after 1 year lifting, I just see physique girls, and I was saying like, "Wow, I want to look like this." So yeah, and next time it was Ronnie Coleman and Kai Green, and I said like, "Wow, I want these muscles." It's impossible for me to have muscles like Kai Green, but I really love all of it.
She's getting close with the progress she's made these last few years. Like I said, as someone who's followed her for a while, you've really, packed on some size. But I always love to bring this question up because I love to talk genetics on this podcast because no one's body is built exactly the same. But everyone always has that one body part when they first get started that really, really takes off, that they don't have to train as much. And then everyone always has that one body part that just drags behind, that it's just impossible to gain. Throughout your journey, what has been one body part that's really taken off for you, and what's been one body part that you've just had to drag behind?
Well, first I was working out only at home, and I train only like biceps, triceps, and
She was a gym bro.
yeah, really. I had just dumbbells at home, and I did I think deadlifts and bench press and something for biceps, triceps, and that was all. After 1 or 2 years, I came to gym, and I really didn't know how to train. I wasn't asking someone. I just go there and start lifting. It doesn't make sense. My lifting really it was horrible. And maybe after 3 years in the gym, I I start. I just had the knowledge, but really, I just came for myself to the lifting, and I didn't train legs. And really, I lifted just upper body, and legs were it was horrible. Yeah, and after I was 18 years old. It's about 6 years later than go. So I had a trainer, and I started lifting legs like twice a week, and I really loved it. I I really love leg day now.
Well, that's good for you because as someone who has never loved leg day, it's great to hear that some people, you know, eventually come on to it. But yeah, I was gonna say, like, a lot of people just get started the way you do, where they just do like curls basically just to get started, and then next thing you know, that's the one thing that's really taken off for them. But what are some of the reactions like that you get in Czechoslovakia or the Czech Republic? I mean, walking around, because they don't see that many muscular women there. So what's that like, being looking the way that you look and being in a country that's not like the USA where there's a lot more of it? What is that like?
Um, the people just stare at you. They are just staring at you,
Yeah.
and that's all. And I'm like, hey, look at me. I'm laughing at them, really.
Oh my god,
I,
I would just be posing at them the entire time, just being like, "Yeah, look at this" and stuff. It would be a disaster for me.
but you know what? Maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was a little bit ashamed of my body. You know, people are staring at you. You don't know what they think. But now I don't care what they think, and I must say I am not lifting 10 years to have this body to be ashamed. Why? Yeah.
That's the outlook you got to have too. Like, I loved one of your recent posts that you had where you just said like, "Who cares if you want to know why I grow my muscles?" Or who cares if, I mean, it's just like, yeah, exactly. It's your life. You can live it however you want to, and obviously it takes a lot of hard work and dedication, and I mean, it definitely shows. And what were your friends and family's reaction like as you got more and more into the sport? Have they always been really supportive, or did they struggle with it at first? What were they like?
My family didn't support me. Really, they didn't. It was just you still just lifting. You are at gym. All of your money goes to food and to the gym. And why? you know. And after I was at European Championship for the first time, it was 2020, I think. And after I came home with a silver medal, they understand now why I do it. Yeah, they support me now. Yeah, I am glad for it. But in the past, never.
I mean, it is hard because this is also like a selfish sport. And I mean selfish in a good way, where it requires so much time and effort and dedication that a lot of people just look at that and they're just put off by it because it just seems like, oh, it's just so selfish and stuff. But it's like, no, it's, you're really bettering yourself and doing all that. But we got to also talk about the mental changes that happen as well when you really get into this sport and compete. There's so much more of a mental change than it is a physical change. Now, obviously, people are going to notice the physical changes and be like, Gabby, wow, you look huge. But people don't understand, you know, the mental changes that have happened as well. What has this journey been like for you mentally?
I don't know what to say. Mentally.
I'm happy. I finally got her tongue tied and twisted, everyone, for once. So I'm happy that that happened.
No, really, I didn't think I changed
Yeah.
mentally. Maybe I'm eco. Sorry for the Czech word.
No, no worries.
Maybe I'm strongest mentally.
Yeah.
Well, in the off season, it's really hard.
Mhm.
Really hard to be motivated or something because I am food lover. Really, I love food and I I want to eat all of time. So in the diet, it's so hard for me. You know, just chicken, rice, cucumber, eggs, and in off season, it's really hard to not overeat. Yeah, I really love food, and it's so hard.
Do you at least use like condiments? Do you at least put like mustard or something on it to give it some flavor? Because I can't imagine eating that dry food all the time.
No, I like it really. So I eat chicken with rice for 10 years. I'm eating, it's it's tasty for me. But I really like uh, salt, salt food. Like fries, meatballs, or something. Yeah.
Making me drool even during this podcast. Jeez, but so if you were given one meal that you could eat during any phase of your journey, what would it be?
Anything, really,
Yeah.
really, anything.
Hey, sweet tooth just like me. I mean, you put a lot of things in front of me. I will eat them away, as well. But just getting into this lifestyle too, and being that you've been doing this for so long, and I've always said that this lifestyle is so ever changing and evolving. Like everything's different year to year. So many things change. What have been some of the biggest changes that you've seen in the 10 years that you've been doing this when it comes to just the sport and just the lifestyle in general?
Well, it's definitely the training, really the focus and training hard. Yeah, that's the biggest. And I am competing for 4 years, but now I can say last year it started. I can say the trainings are like 1,000% now. Yeah, it's like just I'm here, focus for my muscles, and nothing exists. And that's the biggest change, I think.
So what has changed really with the training? Is the training in general changed? Have the reps or the exercises changed? Has anything else changed other than the mindset, or is it just the mindset where you're just way more into it that's resulted in you gaining so much more size?
No, the size was really after bulking. Yeah, so I was 3 years in a calorie deficit. Really, I was competing every half year. So it was like diet, 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 diet for 3 years. So there is no chance to build. And after 3 years, I had bulking off season, but yeah, it was really hard for me, like physically, to gain the fat too. And yeah, that was the one thing to do.
How do you deal with that? How do you overcome that? Just the stress and the struggle of putting on weight after you've been dieted for so long?
I just started don't care. I just you have to don't care about it. Yeah. Don't think and don't care. Yeah, but sometimes I was like depressed. Well, wow, I'm 20 kilos up. No, it wasn't good for me. Yeah.
Well, and I love to talk also about the mental strength that this sport requires as well. Cause yeah, you are having to look at yourself through so many different stages in the journey and just being able to accept that and realize that it's all part of the process. But you just recently won your pro card. What was that moment like for you when they announced your name and you realized, oh my God, I'm a pro now?
Well, when you are on stage, your mind like you don't know what's happening, and after you go down from stage, maybe 1 2 hours, your mind starts like, wow, what is happening? You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm really happy for it. Yeah, the dream came true. Now I'm pro, and I'm really excited to my pro debut.
How did you celebrate?
Um, with hot dog. No, well, I have a next competition in 4 weeks, so no chance to celebrate.
What's that like now going that you were a big fish in a little pond when you were an amateur and now that you're a pro, you're a little fish in a big pond again? What's that like now getting ready to face the pros now? These are the people that have been doing this for such a long period of time. How are you dealing with that? Are you excited, nervous?
Both. I am really excited to step next to them and see what I can do with my physique. But I'm like now I'm like, wow, what should I do? You know.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've always said one of the biggest mindset changes that a competitor has to have is the moment that they win that pro card and they just realize that like, oh, it's a whole different ball game now when it comes down to it. But we gotta talk about posing because for me, that's the hardest thing that I've heard from so many guests. It's harder than nutrition. It's harder than the working out. What has your experience been like with posing?
Oh yeah, I must say it's really important posing, and I think I have a good posing. I'm really sure about it now, but it takes 2 3 years really to teach myself how to do it. because nobody makes for you easier. You need to learn how to do it. Nobody do it for you, you know. So yeah, it is really important, and somebody can have the muscles, they can have the figure, but if you are not sure with your posing, you know.
Oh, I've seen it a million times. Yeah, you see someone that's just in absolutely amazing shape, and then they go up and pose, and you're just like, if only you had learned how to do it better, like it would be such a better package. But I mean, you are a figure competitor, so I do have to ask you about that front lat spread. Is one thing that people talk about as the hardest thing for them, because it's something that like takes such a long time to develop. Was that easier for you to develop, or was it one thing that took a long period of time to develop it?
The front pose,
Yeah,
maybe it was the easiest for me.
I've talked to people that's taken them 5 years, so it's like for it just depends on the individual too, and just the muscle and the size too, and yeah, it really comes down to that individual. But
I think the worst is the back pose
yeah.
because you can't see yourself, you know.
Well, there is one positive though, where you can let that smile down a little bit though, then, because most people don't understand your jaw muscle is going to be one of the most sore things after a show, just from smiling the whole time too. So at least you can let it down a little bit after that. But when you're finally walking on that stage after spending so many months just grueling through a prep, what is that moment like for you when you finally get to show off all that hard work that you've worked so long on?
I'm just happy I can stay there. I'm just when I am on stage, I'm trying to focus on myself and really give everything to it and show them. you know. Yeah.
If there was one figure competitor who you could match up with physique wise, who would you want to be like in the figure field?
It's a really hard question. Yeah, I really don't know.
I don't know either. That's just yeah. It's weird, especially because it is changing every year, and you might have a new Olympia champion, every other year. So it's really hard to like judge it down to one. But I don't really. I mean, for the men's thing, I don't even have a guy that I really think that I could really say I want to look like it. Just because, yeah, it's always changing and evolving.
I have one girl from Switzerland,
Hmm?
but she is physique, and I really love her shape. Yeah.
Is the goal eventually to move up to physique or a different category, or do you want to stay with figure in the long run?
I was thinking about it. Maybe I'm thinking like 3 years. I like physique. I really like it. I like their uh, the posing, and but I'm good in figure, and I'm really think I must gain more muscles to physique, and it takes another things, and I don't want that.
Yeah. No, and I just find it so fascinating because when I started this podcast over 5 years ago, now we're to talk to you, the look that you have right now, that is a physique competitor's look, just how things have changed, that you're in figure when like that is the most, just how much you need to grow just to even be in these federations is just, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's more about the shredded
Yeah.
and lean, and I have the problem with this. Maybe after a few years it gets better, but it's not a sprint. It's just long, long way.
What's the first area of your body that gets shredded, and what's the area that takes like until the very last day to get shredded?
Yeah, it's like
Like, yeah.
the worst part of my body. Like, well, my upper body is shredded like after a few weeks.
We can tell, Jesus.
I think it's just women's.
Yeah. That just goes from all the gym bro training that you did earlier on. That's just really what benefits it. Just all the curls that and everything else that you did in your youth. It really, comes to bear on that. But have you thought about competing maybe in the US or any place? Do you have any current plans to maybe compete more abroad?
Well, in Czech Republic is one show just. So yeah, I compete abroad like every time. And maybe if my dream came true, I can go to Las Vegas to Olympia. Yeah, but I really want to go to the US one day, and competition is just the reason.
How many figure competitors do they have in Czech Republic for your division? Are there a lot, or is it not that many?
I know just Teresa Linhartova and Gabriela Linhartova. They were its sisters, and they were both were to Olympia.
Oh, all right. Hey, that's it's great that they're I don't know if I could compete with a sibling and do this lifestyle with a sibling. So more power to them for doing that because, geez, it's hard enough as it is. But what is your relationship like with cardio? Because unfortunately, when you become a bodybuilder, you sign a deal with the devil when it comes to cardio. How do you deal with cardio?
Well, in the start, when I start diet, I don't mind. I like wake up at 6 a.m. and go to cardio. I like it, but last 2-3 weeks before show, I really hate it, and I'm dying to do cardio. Really, it's twice a day, just half hour, and yeah, you are tired, you are exhausted, you must go to work sometimes, and still need to do cardio. So it's like morning cardio, breakfast, coffee, uh, short sleep, next food, and gym, cardio, and sleep.
Yeah. It's so you're more of a workout person at night. You don't really do it much of the training aspect, like the lifting part. You do it more at night than in the day.
No, I need to go like 2, 3 p.m.
Okay.
Last, I can't go like 6 or 7 p.m. No, it doesn't fit me.
That used to be me where I was just around that time, and yeah, it was not sustainable. Now I just go on walks late at night, but yeah, 2 to 3 is perfect. At least you're not one of those psychopaths that I have on that wake up at like 4 a.m. and work out. Then they don't even do their cardio first. They just go and they lift, and it's like, what is wrong with you people? But what advice do you have for people who are looking to just get started in this sport? Because so many people, with all the myths that are out there about the sport, a lot of people just don't have a good idea of what it takes, first of all, to be in this sport and what to expect when they really get into it.
I just say be dedicated, stay hungry for your goal, and don't listen to anybody. Really, there were people who will say just don't do it. Why you must do it? Eat something, go with us, and no. If you if you really want something and you have a goal, just stay with your goal.
It's just impressive how people in this sport are just able to have that tunnel vision and just focus in on their goals and being able to achieve them. And just like we talked about the mental side of this sport as well, but there's also, when it comes to the mental side of it, it is a competition, let's be completely honest. And especially on places like Instagram, where it has grown the sport a lot and it's done a lot for it, you can also look at like everyone's page that you're competing against ahead of time, and you can, that whole judgment thing, which I would myself be doing if I ever competed, where I would just look at everyone that I was going against and be like, okay, they took the right angle of a right photo, they look amazing, I don't even know if I can win. Have you ever been victim to just looking at people and maybe getting down or a little bit? Or have you always been one of those people where it's like, I don't care what the people look like, I'm just going to show up?
No, in past I was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go on to Instagram and watch girls and say, "Wow, she's better than me." And now I don't do it, really. Maybe when I see some girl who will compete with me, I just look at her, but I just focus on myself. And what you say, you just attract. So you can't go to stage and say, "Wow, I look like she will be in." You just need to go there and be focused on yourself, show what you can, and try to win.
Absolutely. Well, and one thing about you that I've always found fascinating since I followed you for so long is that the piercings that you have. You have one right below your lip, and then you got one in the teeth. How long have you had those?
Mm, 8 years. Yeah, really long time.
This may be the dumbest question ever, but the one that you have on your tongue, does it make eating food feel different than without it? Just because, yeah, okay. Just see, I knew that was a dumb question as soon as I said it, but I was like, it might be. We don't know. So I had to ask. I'm one of those people where it's like, I need to know weird stuff like that just because, yeah. So,
Right.
yeah. I'm one of those if you could already tell just from, talking to me. But if there was one thing that you could change about the sport, if someone went up to you and said, Gabby, we made the decision, you can change one thing about bodybuilding and everyone would go along with it, what would be one thing you'd like to see changed?
Maybe the politics in this sport. I don't know how it will be in NPC, but when I was competing in IFBB, like European Championships or World Championships, there was judges from different countries. But you know what? Czech judge will like you are Czech competitor, and there is Czech judge. So you know
I wonder
they,
who's going to win.
they just try to make you better, and yeah, this is how it works. I don't know how it's like in pro. I think and I hope it will be better and there is no politics, but who knows?
Well, I mean, in some federations, they let coaches be judges of their competitors. So I don't know. That's probably even worse, but I think they're cutting down on that at least. But I've always, of the Europeans I've talked to, I've always found it interesting how it is a little bit more political over there than it is in the States. I'm not saying it's not political over here, but it just seems like it's a little bit, more over there. But just everything that you go through, everything that happens in this lifestyle, there's so many myths out there though about it. What is one myth about bodybuilding that you get a lot that you just hear all the time, but you just want to dispel that you're just like, no, it's not like that?
um, Maybe you heard it, but I think like someone is saying you take steroids, and if I take steroids, I will look like you. No, you won't. You know, you can't just lay down, take steroids, and look good.
I wish, first of all.
No, but it doesn't work like that. Without hard work and dedication, you just can't have it.
I know people that take stuff that don't even train, and they're the dumbest people on the planet because like nothing happens and they just do it, and I'm just like, what is? I mean, yeah, people don't understand. You still got to go and put the work in, and you still got to do all that stuff. If anything, it makes it even harder because then you really have more energy to do more things, so you have to do more of it. But yeah, for me, I've never had a problem with people who use PEDs. My only problem is that the people that do use them just make a workout plan. They say, "Oh, hey, you're gonna look just like me if you work out and do my plan." It's like, come on now. That's the only problem I've ever had with people. But yeah, otherwise I say like, yeah, you still got to put in the hard work and dedication. And unfortunately, there isn't that magic pill that you can just take that will make you gain, 20 pounds of muscle. And when it does come out, if it has no bad side effects, hey, I'll be the first person in line to take that thing. So, just crossing my fingers, hoping. So, we'll see about that. But just, oh, what? Are you going to say something?
Oh, well, I just know a lot of people who take really much stuff.
Mhm.
But like,
Yeah.
sorry, I need to say it, but they look like,
Yeah.
and why? Why you do that? you know?
I know guys that have less muscle mass than me and they take stuff, and I've never taken anything. So it's just like, yeah, it's,
Why?
I've always tell people it's like just go to your natural limits first of all before you even think about doing anything, because so many times, especially with everyone. So you were someone who started working out really young, and I think that's a trend now where a lot more younger people are working out and doing all that. If you could go back and talk to yourself 10 years ago when you first started working out, what would be the best piece of advice you would give yourself?
Work harder. Yeah, just really shut up, get the shit done, and work hard.
I was gonna say, could you imagine with your work ethic that you've done this last year, if you did that for the full 10 years? Good God, you wouldn't even be able to fit in the camera.
Well, I say it really, really long time. But uh, no, if I start train with a trainer or someone who have the knowledge, if I start for like my 15, really, I am another. I have another look. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd probably be like competing as an actual bodybuilder by now. Who knows? But yeah, it's crazy how just in hindsight too, everything can really change and be different. But if there was a skill portion of a bodybuilding show, like a talent portion, what would your talent be?
Genetics.
What do you mean by that? By just by just being like, hey, I'm just really jacknet. So like, yeah, what do you mean by genetics? That's the most interesting answer I've ever heard.
Uh, no, I think when you have good genetics, you work really hard and you know what you want. It's really better than if you have just muscles, but you don't have the shape. You know, some girls in figure, they have the muscles, but you know, they didn't have the waist against the lats or something like that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, most people would say like either like singing or playing an instrument, but yeah, genetics. That's actually a good one too. We had one person who said that they do balloon animals, which again, if they did that, give them first place already. Good God.
What?
Oh, when I said like talent, like if you could do like you know how like for beauty pageants they have a talent portion where you do something like that. That's what I meant when I was asking that. So when you said genetics, I was like, oh, that would just be your talent? Just be I thought you were gonna be like a geneticist and come out there in like a lab coat and be like, look at my genetics, everyone. Here's a lab printout of them or something like that. But no. Again, that's what makes this podcast. That's why I love having guests that don't speak English as their first language much, because then you get funny moments like this that everyone can just be like, hey, language misunderstanding.
No, I thought you meant like in bodybuilding. You know,
Oh
talent.
no, yeah. That obviously you have the talent of genetics just by looking at you, but but like yeah. So like if like a talent wise, like singing, dancing, playing an instrument, doing something, if that was a thing like that, what would your talent be?
Well, I must say I'm multi-talented.
Yeah, you can do more than one. That works.
I can do anything, really. But I used to paint, but now I don't have time. Yeah, I really I wanted to be artist when I was like 12, 13. In- Even in my high school, I really wanted to be artist. And I didn't think I one day will be pro bodybuilder. So yeah.
Well, now you're a physical artist, though. You're sculpting the body, so there's art in that, you know. Too. But I think it would be funny if you just sat out there with a canvas and you like painted the judges and everything, and then presented that with them. That would be a good talent to have. That would actually be kind of cool to see. But again, and people are asking like, how do we make these shows more entertaining? It's the dumbest idea, but it's like, hey, you never know with that. But when we do have you on a year from now, because I would love to have you on a year just to give us an update on what you've been up to. Where would you like to be at in your bodybuilding? Where would you like to be at in just your overall life? What are some goals that you'd like to have achieved a year from today?
I really want to go to Olympia. It's just the biggest dream and it's my goal. So yeah, now it's just I am pro and I can be there someday maybe.
So, how do you deal with prep brains mentally? Like, do you have any funny prep brain stories, or how do you deal with the when you get so drained down? Because a lot of people don't understand just how depleted your mind gets.
No, I just I have to say I complain all of time. Really, I'm trying to not cry that it's hard because you know it doesn't get easy.
Have
But
people ever seen you crying on like doing a treadmill or doing an exercise? Has that ever happened?
yeah, yeah.
That people are just like, yeah, that's Gabby doing her thing.
Before competition, maybe 1 week, just 2 weeks before competition, when I really have to do cardio and I really don't want to do it. Sometimes I'm crying. I just need to do my 30 minutes, and after 15 minutes I'm like, no, no more. Yeah, but get you done.
It's always the worst when you actually like have to. That's why whenever I did my cardio, I never had a timer that I could look at, because it's worse when you have to look at it and see it slowly going down. If you just guess like every 5 minutes so and just like check your watch, I find it more entertaining and easier to get through it. But yeah, and when it comes to having a coach too, what in your opinion makes a coach a good coach? Because there are so many coaches out there, and I found that there's a lot more bad coaches than there are good coaches just from talking to a lot of people. But in your own personal case, what makes a coach a good coach to you?
For me, it's definitely when he just do things just for you. You know, there is someone who gives plans to everybody, the same plan, the same meal plan. But I think just one-to-one coach is the best, and trying to do what's best for you, trying to listen you and just help you when you need. And he's there for you like 24/7 when you need help, when you need to cry. you know.
How do you deal with, I mean, your profile is, a lot of people visit it, and a lot of people, you get messages from all over the world. How do you deal with that? Just the extra added stuff that happens when you have an Instagram account that a decent amount of people know about.
Mm, I just don't care, just a little bit. Yeah. When I have messages like "you are gorgeous" or "you look stunning," I don't answer. Sorry, but no.
That's why you got to start a podcast, everyone. Then you'll get them on, and you can actually talk. No, I'm just kidding. But that's what people were like. Oh, you just started a podcast, talk to these people, and I was like, you realize how elaborate of a plan that would be? That I'd talk to hundreds of guests just to finally get someone on that I'd followed for a while. But I've always found that hilarious too, where people just expect for you to answer them just by saying like, "Oh my God, you're gorgeous," and then they just expect you to be like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. What's your number?" Blah 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 blah. It's like,
No, sometimes I want to be nice and I answer, but it's like just start be annoying. He's just every day, "Hi, how are you?" No, sorry, I don't need that.
all the flex requests that you must get too. God, that's ridiculous.
No.
It's ridiculous.
It,
Like,
it is, yeah, it
people have
is.
even asked it for me, and I'm like, I host the podcast, okay? Like, it's not like it's like, if anything, harass the guests, not me. But it's like, no, even I've gotten a little sliver of it where it's like, yeah, okay, that's ridiculous. But yeah, it's hilarious how once you become a certain size, people just seem to judge your physique more than they judge you as a person, really. Where it's hard for a lot of people to get past the look and realize that you're just an actual human being.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, Gabby, I cannot thank you enough for coming on and sharing your journey with us. Everyone, she was worried that her English might not be good enough, but honestly, it's for not being like a native speaker, you're top 5 for not native speakers for how good your English was. So I told her even this ahead of time. I said the moment that you started talking, I was like, okay, I breathed a little bit more now, because I was like, okay, her English is not as bad as she was advertising it as. Because like I thought it was gonna be a thing where like I would literally have to like type in like a translation, have it go out, which I've had to do before. But Gabby, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story with us. You are a delight to talk to, and I look forward to having you on again. And you have a bright future in the sport, and I really appreciate you coming on and doing this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the Spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone.